Welcome to the Fifth Trooper Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Fifth Trooper Podcast. My name is Jay Shalansky, and joining me as always is Evan Bullrith.
Hey Jay, how you doing today?
Doing good, Evan. We're a little hungover,
Wow,
quote unquote, from our 1 year anniversary special.
How dare you?
Went well. People seem to enjoy it.
No, it was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and oh man, yeah, it was just a ton of fun talking to Kyle and Kevin, and the quiz show was amazing, and the whole thing was just amazing. I had a great time. What about you, Evan?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to listen to it.
Was it, Evan?
It was. I mean,
was it?
It was pretty good.
Was it, Evan?
You took your headphones off. This usually means there's something wrong.
Really upset with you.
Why?
You know what's wrong? You're what's wrong tonight.
I'm what's wrong.
Yeah.
What's wrong now, Jay? Hit me. I
just don't sense your enthusiasm,
So I was trying to use my smoother listening voice, but I can go back to my "Hey guys, how's it going?" voice if you like.
I would like that.
Okay.
Good.
This is what you get now.
For the rest of the episode, I demand it.
Okay.
All right. So on today's podcast, we got some news items.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that you've probably seen in the past week or two.
Probably a lot of things that people have talked about. We're not going to really have a unique take or view on it, but we'll tell you about it anyways.
Sure.
And that'll be fun. You know what? I just don't even want to do this podcast tonight.
No?
Nah, screw it.
No?
Let's just hang it up right here.
You took the headphones off. You're out of Diet Pepsi.
I had such a good dinner. I got filled up with dinner and pie, and now I'm just tired, and I just want to go sleep.
Want to take a nap?
Yeah, take a little nappy nap.
All right, what other trash you gotta throw away?
Man, that's just gonna go. Yeah. So Evan's our local trash panda, as we call him. Anytime he comes over for dinner, he's like, hey, you guys gonna throw that out? And then we're like, probably. And he's like, let me get some of that. And then he just ends up eating
some of that action. The joke is that one day I'll just come in like a raccoon outfit, and it'll be like a Halloween party. Like, oh, Evan, you came dressed up. And I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Oh, man. Yeah, sorry there, folks at home. I don't know. I feel like we blew all our energy on that last episode, and I'm just exhausted now.
No, sure.
This has been quite the week for us. So anyways, we'll cover some of the news. We got a request from a listener. Actually, a listener's wife came up with this idea, is that, we always talk about the events that we're going to. Well, they thought it would be a good idea to just kind of list off events from around the world that'll be coming up, so that you at home know that these events are coming up if maybe you don't know. So
Sure.
We're going to try that.
It's good to see different metas in different places. Like, for example, like X-Wing, like the Australian, European, and American metas are just so insanely different that maybe, maybe everyone... We had 1-2 Palps at the Nova Open?
Yeah. The winning list was Palp,
yeah, it was
right?
Palp.
Yeah.
But you never know, what maybe the Palp's real big over there, right?
Maybe. But, the listener reminded me that we have an international audience.
Yeah.
And so we should be catering to you, the listener, whether you're in Buenos Aires or
spicy.
Munich. Deutschland.
Deutschland.
Ja, jawohl, Deutschland. Or London or Paris, or I know you guys are all over the place. And so I want to formally apologize for making this very American. I promise to spice it up, if you will, and we'll create what I'll call the International Pavilion of Legion excitement for all of you.
That's going to be a thing. All right.
Let me take you on a little plane trip around the world.
Let's go.
Evan.
All right. What else we got?
So we'll talk about some other stuff, but since we're talking about it right now, let's talk about events. So first up, there is a big Grand Championship this weekend. It will be at the Lee Valley Indoor Athletic Center. That's going to be in Edmonton, London. This is a Grand Championship. So top 4 will receive an invite to FFG Star Wars Legion World Championship in the USA. That's where we're from, everybody. The US of A. And then the top player will receive complimentary, if I could say that word right, flights in addition to their invite. So that's this weekend. I believe it is, yes, the 14th and 15th of September. That's this weekend. You can still get your tickets. Good luck with that.
Can I still get my ticket, Jay?
Yeah, you can go. There's one in Italy.
Oh.
The following weekend. And that is the 21st, it looks like, starting at 8:30 a.m. in Italy at the Hotel Castello Centro Congressi. Some other words that I don't know. I apologize for that, but it's in Italy. Look it up. You can find it. So I think it's Asmo Play Italia Showdown 2019.
Asmo Play.
Asmo
no.
Play. Asmo. ASMO, not what you said. Asmo.
I said that.
Sure you did, buddy.
No, it's like Asmodee, but bad. All right.
Let's see. It looks like also across the pond, Deutschland, Oldenburg, Deutschland. On the 2nd and 3rd of November, there's an RPQ going on. It's in a gymnasium. I don't know if that
Does
translates.
It just say gymnasium?
Yeah. I don't know if that's correctly translating. I'm hoping it's not a gymnasium as we think it is. Then also the September 19th September 28th in Lanark, UK, Nightly Gaming is having an RPQ. So go check that out. Those are our overseas ones. We have a grand championship that already happened. So then this one, Warfare Weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Which is November 8th and 10th. That's going to be a grand championship. That's going to be at the Sheraton Westport in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's see. We got a RPQ going on at Dueling Grounds on October 26th. Yeah, so the reason Evan said, oh, yeah, like that is because that's all close enough to us that we sometimes go to those.
Yeah.
There's another one, another RPQ.
Goblin, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Hooded Goblin at November 16th, an RPQ. That's in Georgetown, Ontario. The other one was Peterborough, Canada.
Yeah, I've been to Dueling Grounds. That's actually a really nice store.
So let's see. There is an RPQ, looks like in Ottawa on November 9th. Are they doing it backwards? No, they do it. So I forgot. So Europeans, metric, their way of doing thing, it's small, big, biggest, right? So it's day, month, year.
Yep.
And we do it weird, but yeah, I think this is November 9th. And then that's is that at that Imaginarium? Boutique FDB in Ottawa.
So, yeah.
Montreal has one on, looks like November 2nd at Jujubes, maybe? So that's in St. Teresa, Canada. That's in Montreal. We have another one on November 9th. This is in Sagasma, Massachusetts. RPQ at Battleground Games and Hobbies. Let's see, another one, October 19th. Brothers Grimm. Oh, that's a cool name. Brothers Grimm and Games Collectibles in Selden, New York. Looks like it's on the island. We got an RPQ on the 9th of November at Red Cap's Corner. This is in Philly. That's Nova. That already happened. That was in August. Let's see. Knoxville, Tennessee has one at Sci-Fi City on September 21st. So a couple weeks. RPQ. Louisville, Kentucky's got one on October 5th at Heroes Comic and Gaming. Good. That's good. That's good. Springfield, Ohio, September 28th at Epic Loot Games and Comics. Indianapolis, Indiana, we got one November 16th at Family Time Games. Let's see here. Illinois, Lamont has got one on October 19th at GameStorm Gaming. We've got December 7th at the Geekery in Shawnee, Kansas City. Looks like it's right near Kansas City on the Kansas side of Kansas City. Rochester, Minnesota has got one. Let's see, what's that say? September 21st at D6 Games. D6, that's cool. Johnny C. Cards has got one on December 14th. That's in Schofield, Wisconsin. Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma on September. That already passed. That was last week. Sorry about that. We've got one in Missouri at Gautier, it looks like. That is October 12th at MacNarb Gaming. Don't forget the LVO. So that's the Grand Championship. That'll be January 24th through the 26th in Vegas.
Oh, dang.
That was good last year. I went to that. That was pretty good. This weekend, it looks like if you're out in California, looks like Mountain View Game Castle in Mountain View is going to have an RPQ this weekend. Let's see what else we got. Lacey, Washington, October 12th at Gabby's Olympic Cards and Comics. We got one on that already happened. That was August. And that's the last one, I believe. That already happened as well. So that's the RPQs and all the sanctioned FFG events that we know about. If we missed one or one you may know about, email us and we'll get
announce
to that.
it. Yep.
Yeah, we're going to try to remind people. Maybe if we can do it every week, cool. I mean, that took, 5 minutes or something?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We'll try to go through RPQs coming up just to give you guys a heads up. And so, thank you to our listener, someone from Discord and our listener's wife. Thank you so much, A, for listening, and B, for giving us such a cool idea for the podcast.
No, it is good because, I kind of get too focused on what I'm actually going to because, that affects my life the most. But we get a lot of people listening, so, you're not always going where I'm going, and it'd be good to know what's going on.
Yeah. And, it was a good kind of wake-up call. Like, hey, there's other worlds and people out here you guys should pay attention to. So we are.
I think that wraps in nicely to our next bit of news segment, the special Obi-Wan Kenobi sculpt that's coming out.
Yeah, and so...
For Essenspiel.
Yeah, jawohl. So this is interesting. It looks like this is a thing now. Which is cool. Alt sculpts at special conventions. And they're doing, a different pose for Obi-Wan, and he's on some junk.
He's the high ground. Well, it's not quite the high ground, right? I think that was a rock or something he was on. But
yeah, he was just up a hill a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like that float, like when they're fighting on those floaty lava things.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Good luck getting one.
Yeah. At this point, so... there's a lot of people upset that it wasn't over in America, and man, I get it. I want everything as well, but we got Vader. We got the chance to get Vader over here. It was super limited.
Yeah, we didn't get Vader.
Yeah, the European market had no chance, right? Really, unless they had a guy out here. So I'm glad that they get a chance to get something cool and special. I'm just upset it's something I want. So I'm happy they get it, but I'm also a little bummed that. That's just something I'll only ever see in people's cool paint poses.
Yeah. Maybe if you pay $1 billion on eBay, you might get one.
Oh, geez, yeah. So I'm one hand, I like the fact that you could go to a con and there's a special reason to go. On the other hand, I don't like it because we talked about this earlier. We kind of do everything, right? We play all the armies, so we can talk about them. Yeah. We're really into the game, and so to have pieces out there that I can't own for a retail price is a little bit of a bummer, but on the same time, if you get to go, man, that's when we went to Nova, there was no special, right? So it would have been cool to bring home a Nova special Luke or something, right? So being a Gen Con and Essenspiel is the Gen Con equivalent.
It wasn't Gen Con, it was Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, that was my fault, yeah.
And it was a Gen Con. Did they have anything? No, they had the early release for the
Clone
bags.
Wars.
Yeah.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, you're right. And Adepticon was the special Vulture fighter.
Right. And on Adepticon, you could get the tank and the land speeder. Yeah. It's fine. It's cool. I know a lot of people are upset. I don't care. It's
cool.
It's just a cool alternate thing. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's not a piece that you need to... It's not like they're releasing a unit that's only released.
Yeah, that'd be different
It's
if it
just
was
an
like
old
a,
sculpt.
Yeah.
Everybody relax. Like, I saw a lot of people freaking out about it online. Like, who cares, man? It's just an old sculpt. Relax.
It bothers me less that it doesn't even have like alt art cards or anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just the model. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm good. Right.
Yeah,
like if it came with
cool. And you should. I mean, I think a lot of people that get upset about that. No, maybe not everyone, but some people who get upset about that are people who aren't going to these events. And I think that the people who go to these events, like Star Wars Celebration, like, out to this is the biggest board game convention in the world, right? This is where they give awards to board games. So if you're going to these events, if you're spending that kind of money to get to these events, you should have the ability to get something special that none of us can get. Like, that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, sure. I can't go to them anyway, so I'm like,
Right.
I just delete it from my mind. Right? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
But
it.
on some cool stuff we can win.
Well, I mean, listen, I didn't get the Vader special edition, and guess how that's affected my life? It hasn't. So it's all
Don't
good.
let him lie to you, folks. There's just posters of him holding, like, photoshopped in his hands. It's all over this office. It's kind of sad, really, I guess.
Yeah, but things you can win.
Yeah.
So they announced the second season of, what was RPQs.
Dude, I'm so happy with this.
I know. Now,
It's like
what are they calling it now?
It's a Prime.
Prime.
Everything's Prime now. Like, all
Yeah.
that other crazy name nonsense is gone. So this would be the store championship.
Yeah, so it's full art operative.
Luke and
Cards, Luke and Vader, full art or alternative.
Fuller art.
Yeah.
Fuller art.
Fuller art.
Well, that's for top
Command
16.
cards. So that's
right?
top 16. Yeah, everyone, top 32, or basically everyone at an RPQ or Prime is going to get the cards. Your top 16 are going to get the command cards. Your top 8 get these are the spot gloss ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now these are the cool ones coming up next.
So, top faction and finalists. Those players who perform the best from their chosen faction will be rewarded for their effort with a set of 8 victory tokens. These tokens will have the symbol of each faction on them, depending on which one, won.
I think that's cool, because even if
yeah.
you get, like, maybe you're the only Rebel player there, or maybe the only Empire player with all the new stuff coming out, and maybe you just get slaughtered, right? You just had a rough day. But hey, man, you got some acrylic stuff that no one else has, right?
Yep.
That still makes it worth trying to bring, like, a different army.
And then the top 2 will get acrylic order tokens with the Luke Skywalker artwork from the operative card, which is pretty sweet.
Now this one's really cool.
Yeah,
for
the
me.
champion will get what is this? Commander token. Oh yeah, they were doing those a while ago.
And it's
remember?
a box with foam to carry your stuff in, like a special looking, like it's cardboard box. Like, right, we all have carrying cases probably at this point, but to have one that shows you one, right, that's pretty cool, right? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's a good. It's funny. Evan sent me the link when it first came out. I was working or something, so I hadn't seen it yet, and so I was like, all right, but I didn't really get down far enough. I was just like, oh yeah, cool, okay.
Yeah.
And then I started scrolling down. I'm like, oh snap. The question is, you think you'll get that award too? That acrylic award that I got for the first time I won.
Oh, the that nice trophy.
Yeah.
No, I think those are done.
Oh.
I think the last shot I'll have for one of those, maybe the Hooded Goblin, because that's gonna be the last RPG. The worst part was,
what would you rather have, the trophy or the box with foam?
The box, honestly.
Well, I'd rather have the trophy.
You can take that with you, right? That kind of gives you some
I know.
It's
but
kind of
at this
cool
point,
thing.
if they're not going to redo the trophies, then I have something unique that, there's a number of us that have it, right? Like,
yeah, no, it's cool.
What, 70 or something? But still.
I guess I have no trophies for anything. So what's another not trophy I won't win?
Come on, Evan.
I'll put up to my second place Pog tournament trophy.
Yeah,
I'll go right next to that.
So the weird thing is, it looks like the invite is like a token instead of a card.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
I was a little nervous. I was packing up my Legion stuff because we're moving into a bigger space for the podcast and stuff. But I saw the card. I had it just with all my alt art stuff, and I was like, oh god, I shouldn't lose this.
Yeah,
I better put this somewhere important. But yeah, no, the new thing looks great. Listen, they're trying. OP's getting there. We had a rough start. Bumpy.
Leaps and bounds better than last year. Last year we complained for 45 minutes, and I think rightly so.
Right.
But now that's actually cool stuff you will have and use, right?
Yeah. It was a bumpy start. Everybody has those, right? Like our first podcast wasn't great. So, it just is what it is. And we got to move on. And I think they're trying, which is fantastic. Okay. So a couple things. They released the spoiler for the Luke operative. I would recommend we could talk about it, but we're not going to. Because FFG Live... They did
spoiled just about everything except just like 2-pip, but you can see that there.
And then also Scoundrels, Notorious Scoundrels, highly recommend listening to them this week. They just came out yesterday, and basically they had Luke, Eddie, and Alex Davion, and they basically talked about the point changes. They talked about the operatives. They talked about everything.
Were you going to say Luke Skywalker? You stopped.
Yeah,
Luke,
I was.
Stopped for a minute. And I'm like,
Luke.
Say it.
What was his last name? And then I'm like looking at Luke Skywalker on it. Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's on.
Just a little side. Rachel and I were talking about, she was meeting everybody at these events and stuff. She's like, how many people named Luke play this freaking game? Because it's Luke Eddy, right? Luke Cook, who's the world championship.
Yeah.
And then Master of the Force, Luke from Australia. She had met all them like kind of in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And was like, how many Lukes are in this game?
Well, when the hero of the movie series is your name, you kind of get attached.
I was like, all of them.
I got like Evan Almighty.
I don't think there's any J, right?
There's a Goosebumps book where there's Monster Blood's got Evan in it.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. 2-5. I got 2 for 2. All right.
I don't think there's any J's in anything. So
in anything ever. That's it.
There you go. So if you want to know more about points changes, you want to know more about the operatives, highly recommend go listening to them. We could talk about it now, but we're not going to do it justice as they will. So what I would like to talk about, though, are you ready, Evan?
Yes.
With the point changes, what have you readjusted a list? Have you built a new list? What have you done now that there's point changes?
Oh, I actually built a list and got it ready to bring over today. I know, like for like your actual player is kind of like packed, right, for the garage.
For the move, yeah.
And so I felt stupid because I forgot it, and then I walked in and I felt less stupid because we couldn't have played anyway. But I had one of those like 2 Pathfinders, an airspeeder, just everything jammed in there. I'm like, how do I put 2 1.4 cannons in here? Just anything that got a price dip to try. But I really think, back when I talked about points, I'm like, just make the Pathfinder configuration free. It's not doing anything for them to charge 6 points for it, and they did. Yeah. So Pathfinders are 6 points cheaper because you always took it. There's no reason not to, and you'll probably never put it on the red one. You'll always do the long range. So,
right.
That got cheaper. Duck and cover got cheaper, or take cover, or duck and cover, right? The talent to get the suppression.
I don't think so. No. Oh yeah, went down to 4 points.
Yeah, so that went down, so they get another 4 points cheaper. So you can actually bring like I want to play 2 Pathfinders. I really want to play Jin and 2 Pathfinders, so I can put a chunk of my army somewhere and have the rest kind of follow. And I thought an airspeeder would get to them faster, so you can kind of like 50-50 it.
Yeah.
But really Pathfinders, because I've always loved them, but they were always just a little too expensive for what they did, especially when compared to Death Troopers. So now I'm really just those. I've always been fringe 1.4 cannon.
Yeah.
But now range 5, maybe it's more enticing. Actually, speeder bikes. I built Imperialists with speeder bikes now because they're real.
So, just a little teaser. Something interesting that I think Alex said yesterday on the Scoundrels podcast was, you don't have to bring snipers to counter snipers anymore. Like that doesn't feel like that's necessary. And when he said that, I hadn't thought about it. I've been building lists. I'm like, oh, yeah, like the last few lists I've built have had 0 snipers in them because I'm just like, meh.
That kind of actually that bit me in the butt at Nova because our whole play area just decided they don't want to use snipers anymore. So I went to Sabs, and so when I actually went against lists that were heavy snipers, I've played against snipers before, sure, but I didn't know how to play against them with my list. So I was getting eaten alive.
Yeah, but this was before the range change.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I think our group won't change too much, but our group kind of like just did the gentleman's agreement of we're not playing them. So we weren't even bringing. You didn't have to think about countering snipers because there was not on the field, right?
Right.
Like, someone might bring one.
Well,
right?
and it was like that day, that one tournament I brought Flyboys with the 3 snipers and just like walked all over everybody because no one had snipers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot. I forgot we weren't doing this.
Well, it's yeah. Thanks, Jay. You're the guy in the other boat that blew up the other boat.
Yeah, I was
Prisoner's
like,
dilemma.
screw those prisoners.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think you still take maybe one. I think you up to 2 maybe one because they're still a 48-point babysitter for an objective that you can leave they can leave behind. And,
but you
like,
don't
do
feel like
something.
you have to. Like the fact that we can sit here and go, do you need them? You know?
Yeah, no, that's good. I still think they're good for their points, even with the points increase and the range decrease. I still think they're a powerful unit. But now I don't put in like 3 and start my list. I'm like, I'll see, like, I'll look how my points shake out, and if I might make room for 1 to go sit in like a key position or something that I'm not going to be touching.
Yeah. Yeah, I was making, I'm actually working on this weird, now that Commander Vader's down 10 points, and some of the Force stuff is down, Saber throws down, I was like, oh man.
You can build Vader for like 205 now.
I think I have like a 10 or 11 activation Vader Krennic list that I was like, this thing is going to murder people.
Yeah.
So much suppression.
I was doing a tank Vader. That was my other list. I was building to just get the tank to get the Vader to the front line.
Yeah.
Until the new cards come out.
Yeah.
And you just dump them out, and I'm like, whatever. He's fine.
Well, it's funny. When I was building it with the unreleased command cards for the operative, and I was like, oh man, like with Krennic and him, it's like I have too many good choices now.
Yeah, that was like when I was doing those 4 at the A-team, right? You just anything you wanted, right?
Right.
And it makes it interesting. It's what I like about the new command cards for the operatives is none of them are strictly better. They're all interesting choices. So when you're playing with the cards or the unit, I don't know what you have for Luke, but I have to keep in mind everything, right?
Right.
So that's like, why is he positioning here? Does he have Son of Skywalker? Does he have your Master Serves You
Well, it starts to make that that Imperial 1 pip, the shoot, what's the name where it lets you look at?
Oh, Recon.
Maybe. Let me
Like
hold
Recon
on.
Ops.
I'll look it up.
But it's
You keep talking.
Yeah, it's where you get to randomly look at like 2 cards in their hand, I believe, and you get to activate an operative or specialist.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. But honestly, like, when do you play that? Maybe turn 1.
Covert
observation.
observation. So it's a 1 pip. You can do special forces or operative unit. Look at up to 2 random command cards from opponent's hand. Now it's kind of not so bad.
My problem with it is you could always pull standing orders from their hand, right? It's random.
Oh, sure.
So then you just feel like you totally you got standing orders and like
it's
then 1.
It's a risk, right? Like it's definitely a risk to play it, but with the operative cards, you're right. With the Luke Vader list or Vader list, you're like, I don't know what they're playing.
Well, because I like it because their games are interesting when there's choices, and now like Luke's 2 pip, his current one gives two dodge tokens.
Yeah,
cool.
Mm-hmm.
His new one makes him harder to kill. So do you want to do like a Luke Sabine and you play the 2 so they both get it, or do you want to make that 1 Super Luke? Do you want to play both? Like it's really like, and there's just not standard better, because I was really afraid when I saw their new command cards that there just wouldn't be an option, it'd just be auto includes, and thankfully there's not. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I got a Vader Krennic list I was looking at with my boys eWebs. I was actually looking at, I played in the Yavin base team league, and I got annihilated last week. I played the Separatists, so I played Grievous.
You have a whole lot to use anyway, right?
No, I played Grievous droids and 2 droidicas, and I had 9 activations. And my opponent was playing this crazy Krennic Shore Trooper E-Web sniper list, and he had 13 activations.
Oh, God.
So I was just, it was just a bad matchup to begin with.
Exe.
And then the board was just basically open, and so it just sucked.
Like the British Army marching into the Americans with guerrilla tactics.
Yeah,
right?
but it was like, I actually, it's funny, with the droids, like there's enough of them in Grievous, I still felt like I was in it until he literally did not miss a single shot on black dice for 3 turns. So everything hit. And, like,
Yeah.
he just annihilated Grievous within, like, by turn 2, Grievous was dead. And I was like, what? So what had happened was I, like, climbed up to, there was this piece of terrain, and he had his snipers babysitting an objective. We were playing Intercept the Transmission.
Yeah.
He had snipers babysitting his back one, okay?
Is this before or after the range?
This is the range hasn't taken
Before,
effect.
okay, all right,
yeah.
okay.
So I'm like, okay, I think if I could get Grievous and these 2 sets of droids over there, I could take that back one.
Yeah.
And it's a good hold point where he would have to then come into me. So Grievous is there. I'm waiting to activate Grievous. The range 4 completely threw me off. He ended up shooting at him with snipers, got a wound through. Like, Grievous isn't saving.
Yeah.
Then he had Death Troopers at range 4, tapped their config, shot Grievous, got another wound through.
3 suppression.
Yeah. No blocks.
Yeah.
Grievous isn't blocking. And so I'm like, okay, 2 wounds. I got the suppression off.
Yeah.
There was this big, like a hill, and you couldn't see it. Like, the walls were impassable. So, like, I go, okay, Grievous gets on top. He does his little thing. He skitters up the side, moves, shoots at the snipers. They block on white dice. Then he skitters down the side, and I hide him. I turn him around. I'm like, they're not going to see him. He literally moves just a little bit, and he could just see the elbow of Grievous.
No.
And lays into him with shore troopers.
That's a big oof.
Yeah, with heavy cover, he still got 2... No, he ended up getting, 2 hits through. Grievous didn't block either of them, so now he's at 4 wounds.
Jeez.
His snipers roll up into range 2 and shoot 4 black dice. He all paint.
Oh gosh.
Good paint, not surge, but like all hits.
Yeah, sure.
And a crit, I think. Grievous blocked 1, so now he's at 7 wounds.
Yeah.
And then he just rolled up with another sniper squad and then took care of and Grievous was out. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. But, I was thinking about just the amount of suppression he was putting down. And so anyways, back to my list, I've been playing, he didn't have the upgrade for shore troopers. He just had shore troopers. Like, 2 of them had medic droids. Just 4 shore troopers, 4 black dice. Handing out aims and surge tokens.
Yeah, it's not bad.
He had aggressive tactics on.
Oh, that's even better.
Krennic,
yeah.
So and the
they
binoculars,
like light death troopers with that.
Yeah, that's basically what they were. 4 black dice isn't bad with red saves.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy.
That's nuts.
And then he was like, and then towards the end he just started like critting. Like, I had things behind cover, and then it was just crit, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
But I'll say the droidicas are really good. The droids themselves are variance monsters. They're basically Z6 squads.
Yeah, because you're throwing so many.
Right, and I put that one, I think it's EC.
They're like lighter gun.
Yeah, well, it's 3 black, right?
Yeah,
so it's 3 black, and then if you have a full squad, it's 7. So you have 10 dice altogether. 7 white, 3 black.
Yeah.
So it's just variance.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Z6. You're
Yeah.
just like, I might do something here.
Yep. Sometimes you get 4 crits, sometimes you get nothing. And you're like, not even a suppression.
Right. So it was interesting. But yeah, with the new, I'm real excited about E-Webs. They can now move in their first turn, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That makes them so much better. Barrage generator came down. I don't know that really affected much for me. As far as adding it,
It's good. It's 2 more dice.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not. The price is
you usually go for bargain bin. So like, no upgrades. Just take the E-Webs. Yeah.
I started playing with the T47 list and a Gen list.
Yeah, I put them both in. Well, they're both cheaper, right? It's just like, yeah. I think Jin is very playable now. 130 was just too much. So the problem with Rebels is they didn't have middle management. Like, they didn't have like, or Empire's got. The Empire's extremes, right? 80 and 90 for Krennic and Veers, or like 200 and 210 for Palp and Vader, where Rebels had like 160, 130, 120. They didn't have like either, nothing really too expensive. So to see Jin go down to 110 makes that much more appealing to me.
Yeah.
So maybe like a Jin Sabine list comes up, because Sabine can get to Jin pretty quick.
Yeah, I think there's options now, right?
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot more, and I'm glad they did a lot of this. Because I was looking at all the clone and the droid stuff. I'm like, man, these side weapons are so good for so much less. Like, why would you ever do it? Then they came out of nowhere with a lot of those points reductions, and I'm like, that's good. That keeps it all like balanced, right? Again, choices. It's important that there's no just shelved units. That everything gets you have a choice. Though Wookiees, I'm surprised they didn't. Wookiees are still. I don't know where they're supposed to be.
Chewbacca came down, right? But Wookiees are still just Wookiees.
Well, I had this thing in my head that they might release them in the Republic and make like a dual faction unit, right? And they could just release a point card like, hey, we think Wookiees are actually still worth the cost, but you Republic or Rebels, and here's their card, right? Like that makes sense to me. Like, but so I'm kind of like I'm not gonna get in a Wookiee tirade here until I see what they do with that. Yeah. Then I'll ask me in about 6 months if I don't see a Wookiee article. then you'll hear me like, these Wookiees are too expensive. These Wookiee points are too dang high.
Yeah, that would be
right. It makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think it would be like a simple like card pack upgrade, right?
Yeah, easy, right? We could just like I really want.
But they're not going to do that. They're going to re-release them. So what they're going to do, if I had to guess, so remember, what was it, 2 weeks? I mean, there's so much stuff going on, but like a couple weeks ago when they announced the core trooper upgrades.
Yep.
I bet you they'll do that.
Yeah.
Or it'll be alternative art, and then
like
you'll get like the card that says they can play for both with the points change or
That'd
something.
be fine. I'd be okay with that. Like $20 gets me maybe a Wookiee holding a different heavy gun. A couple old sculpts.
Yeah, maybe he's not holding the sword above his head.
Oh my gosh, dude! It's like not enough that like built out even reasonably to play like over 100 something points, like 110, 120. But that dude holding the sword, and every time he dies, the guy behind him reaches down, picks up the sword, then holds it over his head.
Yeah,
I felt bad for our buddy. He came. We went to the RPQ that we were at, and we were on that shipping container board. And the Wookiees were hidden behind it.
Yep.
Until Mike's Wookiee just picked up that sword again, so my ATS could fire, only sees that one, kills him, and then the next one picks up that sword and puts it above that shipping container.
You know, it's funny, at that same RPQ, I was on that same board, and the guy had Luke and sword. Wookiees, and I was like, Death Trooper is shooting, and that's how I won, because I was just like, oh.
And it, not to get into too much of a tirade about this, it's like, when you ask a Legion player what's one thing you could wish they would change about the game, it's always like you have to see heads and torsos. Just make it heads and torsos, because man, it really feels dumb to shoot a lightsaber and kill Luke.
Yeah,
right. That feels
like an elbow.
Yeah, it feels real bad. Like I hope they down the road this is something they eventually just because right in the rules, right? They just change it. They don't have to change anything about the game.
No, or the models.
Yeah, those are all fine. But to say like, man, because you feel bad doing it. And it feels bad to be happen to you. You're like, oh, I can see Han's tip of his pistol if you look right here. And it's kind of semantics, but you do see it. And the guy's like, okay. And he's like, Death Troopers, full barrage, Han's dead. Yeah. And you're like, okay. Right? Like, I get the idea it's supposed to be a cone. Like, the model's just there for aesthetic and game, like, eyeing. But it still feels bad. So I hope that's a eventual change.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if anything, we've seen the... Alex and Luke are more than willing to make changes to make this game better and admit mistakes. So, I think it's highly possible.
No, sure. I mean, again, it's like that's the only, when you ask me what's wrong with Legion, I don't even think it's wrong. It's just like, it just kind of stinks.
Yeah.
When you have to, because then you have to be like, oh, I see his bit of his backpack there, and I guess now he's dead. Like, it's like, okay,
yeah.
like.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just part of the game.
No, right? It is, and they either have to go all in or very specific because right now it's like you see an antenna or something is fire,
right.
But it's just like any bit of the model, right? Like, it just stinks to lose like your recon guy is like his antenna sticking up over a rock, and like, oh, my sniper can see the antenna, so I guess he's gone.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting game. I love it. I love this game. We're in this weird. I was just thinking, like, I played that TTS game, but I haven't played in a while. Like, I'm in this weird switch of our space here at the house, and I've just been busy. and so I haven't gotten any like honest to goodness. I think the last honest to goodness game I got in was that game we played here, like right before you went up to Canada.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of getting itchy.
We played before Nova when I got back. I had that Luke Sabine, and you did.
Oh yeah, before Nova. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So yeah, that was the last game we played, and then I like started packing everything up. So I just haven't gotten minis on the table in a little bit. I'm excited. It's funny because we were talking about this last week on the episode with Kyle about when we first interviewed Kyle. Like he and I were worried because it was like as content creators, it was like we'd gone through like a 4-month blackout period with Legion where we hadn't heard anything between Veers and Leia, and it was just like, oh crap, this is real bad. But now and I don't mean this as a complaint, it's just overwhelming. There's just so much going on now that like I'm just like, oh god, here comes something else. Like every time an article comes out, I'm like, now what? What?
Right, it's like so I say a lot of stuff lately. It's like it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. It's like it's the best of times because like, man, like every week there's a Legion article about something. Even like last week was Points and Luke's article. Alex's article about, hey, that's why we did it.
Yeah, and the championship thing was last week too, right? The updated RPQs.
Oh, yep. The new, so like
primes.
So you see all this new stuff, but it's hard to like even digest it all, even on like a casual level, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes about just what's going on. Like you bet for sure I'll be printing out a bunch of those points updates, and every time I go to a place, hand them all out and be like, because not everybody stays in as much as we do, right? And if you're at a big tournament, they're like, hey, we really like, you get a lot of guys coming out like, hey, we saw a tournament, so we just brought, me and my son came out, we wanted to play, and I'd be like, when's the last time you played? 7-8 months ago. I'm like, yikes. So here's this. Feel free to change anything you want right now, right? Like just to get some more points.
It's interesting. And like Luke and Alex were talking, well, Luke first of all, and then Alex a little bit, but like they were talking about how like they weren't changing the cards because they felt for casual players, like the points were still okay. Yep. But then you're right. That's a great idea. That's a great idea for you at home too. And maybe we'll come up with the sheet. We'll make like a little art sheet or something, and you guys can print out at home to hand out to new players to kind of transition them in. Because the other thing is, until this new core set came out, this was actually something I realized when we were playing limited visibility. That last time we were playing the wrong limited visibility, and neither of us realized it because we were playing the one that didn't say attack. It said it got errated.
Oh, limited visibility got errated?
Yeah, the words got changed.
Did it?
Yeah, to say during the first round, units cannot perform ranged attacks beyond range 2. Where we were still playing, it was you couldn't see beyond range 2. So like for tripping, standby.
Beyond range. Okay, I guess you.
So this says the new one says you can't perform range attacks beyond range 2.
Correct.
But I think we were playing the old card where we were like, well, I can't see them anyways because it's limited visibility, so it won't trip standby. But it absolutely would have. I think we were just playing that wrong.
I guess so. Because I mean, you'd have to be within range 2 to even fire, though.
Right, but I could move. If you trip standby, I could move.
Okay. Yeah.
At range 3 with like the E-webs.
Yeah. Okay.
See what I mean?
Yes.
So, anyways, like there's these cards where I'm like, I see a newer player and I'm like, oh yeah, that key position's not right anymore. That rapid reinforcement isn't right anymore.
That feels bad sometimes.
That coordinate fire isn't right anymore.
Like it's actually getting a little troublesome because you get a lot of people who just don't like their casual players are coming for a tournament, and then I have new copies of everything, right? Like I've got the 2 errated cards and things like that. But when having to like all these points changes and things like that are going to be kind of a bummer for them. So, just make sure like you bring the lists in. If you have a posting on your Facebook page or wherever you post the events, just make sure you say that new points are in, right? So that people have no idea. Or if then you'll get a question of like, what do you mean? Right? Then you can link them to the rules reference or give them a rundown, something, right?
Yeah.
Because it'd real stink to see someone bringing in a 200-point T-47 airspeeder, right? Then you'd be like, oh, well, you actually have 20 more points you could spend, and they don't have anything else. Like, well, I guess I bring a bid. Like,
Yeah, no, I was thinking too. And if you have the capability at home, this is something Evan does. But I was thinking about doing it more too. Is when I go to play, I think I'm gonna bring all my cards, and I'm gonna bring a second list. So whatever I'm not playing, I'll bring another faction list, so that in case somebody that happens to somebody, I'll be like, dude, just play my list, or here, just take my cards. Like because you know how many times, I mean, I've done it where you go and you're like, dang it, I left my battlefield cards at home, like, or that one's easy, but like, or like harder ones, which is, oh shoot, I meant to have this upgrade on this, you know, and like, look, it's on my list, I just forgot to bring the card, you know.
And most of the time, you know, our events were pretty chill, but like it matters for a few things, right? Like one, what if you got the text wrong, right? Or like what if Jay and I have these things like memorized at this point, but it's like,
I think I do, and then someone asked me a question, I'm like,
it's so bad. I feel like, gosh, I can't remember my Cisco command line codes, but I can tell you how much barrage generator costs now. But it's I carry them all with me because that happens. Like, oh, I forgot this, I got that. I bring 2 lists with me. Usually one, whatever I'm playing is complicated or whatever I want, and then like the other list is like Veer's triple bikes or something real, like real. Now it's even better. Maybe that's time to revisit that list because long range scanners went down too. Yeah. Now it's like 80 points a bike instead of 100. So that's
a long range comlink. Yeah, it's down to 5 points.
So now it's you get 60 points free in that list.
Yeah,
that's
or even better, comms jammer.
Yeah,
at 5 points.
That's even good. Run them in there. Yeah, so some spicy takes, but I bring 2 because maybe I got a couple of my buddies who are waiting for Clone Wars. Like, I want to play, but I don't have anything. I'm like, oh, here, this is, or they know how to play. They just didn't bring anything. Like, hey, what are you doing Saturday? I'm like, you're coming with me to play Legion, and here's my like just it's Fierce Bikes. Just push everything forward and roll dice until either they're dead or you die. Like that's right, and then that it just makes it so like I just keep it up and bringing like. Especially something that's just mostly basic infantry, like it's pretty easy to carry.
I just thought of a crazy list. So, not crazy, but you put the speeder bikes in.
Yep.
You add comms jammer on.
Yep.
Now for sniper, going for snipers, you just go get within one of a sniper, and now they can't activate. So then you can move the rest of your troops up, or go move the other bike up to shoot it.
Yeah, they can't be issued in order. Yeah,
you just full speed. At that sniper.
Yeah. Imagine being that guy in that rock pit. Wait, they're not even shooting. They're just coming right for us.
And then just get within range one of them. And then he can't.
Ice them. Yeah.
Can't be issued in order.
That's,
Ooh.
Here we go. But I think that's good for like new players, emergencies. How many times have we played? Like, hey, does anyone have a Death Trooper set? Like, I brought the wrong thing. Like,
well, and it's funny because I've been bringing like, I didn't really think of it in this context, what we're talking about right now, until recently. But I was bringing like tons of extra tokens. I was bringing 2 sets of range rulers and movement templates. I was bringing like 2 of everything else. And I was just like, oh, shoot, I should just be bringing this too, just to help out newer players, or even veterans who just forget. Sometimes we just forget our stuff,
Like, man, I thought I had a panic attack originally. I found my bag of order tokens, but normally I like lay everything out before I go to an event, and I'm like, I unpack it in my mind because I play like X-Wing. You can forget anything, right? All these games are little bits. So I'm like, everything I need goes in this box. But I thought I forgot my order tokens. I'm like, man, I'm sunk. Like, what do I do at like a grand championship? Like at a local store, like, well, I'm going to put it on my phone and put it down, and we're going to reveal at the same time, right? Like there's you can like there's ways to get around that, right? But that's it's trouble.
Yeah. All right. So what else? Oh, that's a little bit on the hobby side. Something I was looking for the other day, because I'm trying to get, if you haven't heard, we're moving our space, and it's both the podcast area, but also my workspace. And so I'm trying to like get everything with the move. I'm trying to organize and so I have all these paints, all my Citadel paints and my Army painter paints, and I'm like, how am I gonna like contain these? Yeah, thank you. And so I was like, you know what? I was looking online, and so this, for anybody out there, if you're looking for some way to display / store your paints, I found this link to their nail polish paint displays. for like your home, like a vanity display, and it's like this tiered kind of stepped display. It's got a little lip on the front so stuff doesn't slide off, and it was like $8 or something on Amazon. So
Yeah.
I bought 3 of them.
Nice.
What do you think?
Yeah, they look good. It's my biggest thing is like I see GW has these ones you can hang on the wall and you put them in there, but those are like $20. Then it holds like 8 or something, right? It's not that many, but that's way more economical for how you just get all those paints in there.
Yeah, and the nice thing was it's they came with like the sides bolt on, so there's like a nut and bolt for the sides, so it feels like it's a little bit meatier than, you know, like if it was just one whole piece of plastic or something. I don't know.
Sure.
It feels better, or like easily replaceable or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like I feel like I can measure that out and then maybe like 3D print, you know, the sides if I needed to.
No, speaking of storage, like so the army I carry is in my bag. Or the 2 armies I carry, whatever I'm carrying. Usually when I go to Grand Championships, I carry 1, casual I carry 2. But at this point, like all my extra stuff is just like in piles in my office. 'Cause I've been traveling so much, I don't have time to even like. I had Saturday was my first day off from everything. Don't have to travel for an event or anything. And man, last thing I did was want to clean. So I played Age of Wonders for like 9 hours. But to that point though, I'm looking to get like normally I get tool boxes. That's how I store everything for my games. Like if anyone's ever played Twilight Imperium, you know there's a million little chits, right? Toolbox does it well. Talisman has a million expansions. Toolbox stores all that pretty well. So I need to get one for all my Legion stuff, just to like get it off my, because I've got a counter full of it. Like I've got a shelving unit, but then that's still full of all this Warhammer stuff I don't play, Age of Sigmar, and then I have a 40k army up there, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's just the only person I'm displaying them for is me, and not that I don't like looking at them. I've just got stuff that needs to be hidden.
I should show you. Remember, early on I was using them, and I got away from them because of the way things went when I got that army bag, and so. But I was using those cases that I had printed the vinyl for the front.
Yeah,
those were great. And then what happens is you have multiple. They connect together. And as I was kind of organizing everything and packing stuff up for the move, I found them and I'm like, oh my god, why did I go away from these? These are so handy. So
they stack in 2s, right?
They stack as much as you want them to stack. Like,
well, I mean, they come in 2s, right, when you buy them.
Something, yeah. But you could stack 10 of them together if you want, or like, you know, if you bring 2-3 armies, they connect together. Plus, they like, so there's these cases. I got them at Walmart. They're plastic. They have a top, and then they have all the like compartments, like all those cases do, with the movable, slidable things. But then it sits on another one, and then there's these 2 latches on either side that come and grab the one on top of it. So then you can carry 2 at once. They're really handy, and I kind of got away from it, but I was like, oh, I gotta get back.
That's how I used to carry I had those for my X-wing stuff, or X-wing. In my mind, this is like my lifespan, but 1.0 X-wing stuff used to use those. Went to a toolbox for 2.0. But yeah, I had those for that, and they were fine. But now I need to like, because at first your Legion army starts with like, well, it's one little group of rebels and some Imperials, and I'm like, well, I want 2 armies for both. Well, a new unit comes out, well, I'll buy both. And then it gets to the point where like, now the vehicles, like a tank takes up a lot of space, and 2 1.4 cannons takes space. It's just kind of nuts.
Yeah, another thing that I was doing before that I kind of got away from because I got the foam was I got these. They're these totes. They're like plastic. They're 12 inches by 12 inches, and then they're probably 5 inches deep. And they come in a stack of 3, and then they come with a top. And then when you set them down, they have a little clasp and latch, and so they all stack. You close the clasp and latch, and then that's how and then you can move. And you got 3 full totes, 12 inch by 12 inch by 5 inch. So what I was doing was, Hobby Lobby or any of the Joann Fabrics, any of these, you get those totes, right? Mm-hmm. Then you can get 12 inch by 12 inch hobby metal from Hobby Lobby or anywhere else. Like it's like a sheet metal, and you put it in the bottom, drill a hole in the 4 corners. Then you, I forgot the word. It'll come to me in a second. But then you connect them to the bottom of the tote. And then what I was doing was I bought, I don't know, I must have bought hundreds, maybe thousands of these rare earth magnets from Harbor Freight. They sit right underneath the base.
Okay.
So it doesn't raise it up, and it's
Yeah.
about, they're probably like 1/4 inch round. Put them in there, and then set the minis on the metal, and then that's
Oh, it's not bad,
homemade
too.
like
Yeah.
magnet.
A
carrying.
magnet rack?
But like, they're not great for like traveling a lot with, but they're great for storage at home.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, so sidebar also leads into this. I'm a huge Gotrek and Felix fan of the books, and the new model for Gotrek's coming out for Age of Sigmar. They just released a new book series for him called Realm Slayer. Excellent if you get a chance to listen to it. So I saw that and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get back into Age of Sigmar. I want to play some Fire Slayer dwarves with my new Gotrek model in the front. But I'm like, where are those? And I found like another one of my bags to keep my Legion stuff in. And I'm going through 2 or 3. I'm like, where the heck? What? I'm like lost in like demons. I don't remember having demons. And so I looked on the shelf and I'm like, well, I play Legion, so that's going to be the top, right? It's like order of how important these are to me, because I'm weird like that. So, but I'm like, I don't have any. I'm like holding them in my arms when I walk in my room. Like, where do I put all these rebels?
Are you telling me right now we're getting into Age of Sigmar?
I mean,
Because I literally have 3 giant totes of fantasy miniatures downstairs in my basement that I can pull out and build an army.
All I'm telling you is I've got with Gotrek's. So army is roughly like 1,500, 2,000 points. The new model himself is going to be 560 or something because he's just a beast. But I've got enough Fire Slayers to fill out the rest. So if you want to have a dwarf on whatever army action, we can make it happen.
I don't even know what's in Age of Sigmar now. So probably goblins, orcs. I got tons of those.
Yeah, night goblins are still a thing. I think
Yeah.
you said you had those.
Speaking of fantasy and other games, little self-promotion here for the network. Next week, we are going to start our pre-orders for our game mats. The new design game mats. And the reason I segued from fantasy is because the way we're designing them, they're full 4x6 mats. They can be 40K, Star Wars Legion,
Bolt action, whatever.
Bolt action, any game. Because the sidebars that we used to have, I've taken those off, and they're actually separate pieces. So you could get a full 4x6 mat, and then we have 6 foot by 6 inch sidebars for your cards for Legion. And so they're separate. They're made of the same material, neoprene material. And so those are going to go on pre-sale next week. And really what this is it's just so everyone's aware, it's a Kickstarter pre-order, basically, for us. I'm just not going through Kickstarter. I'm just doing it myself.
Yeah.
And what it's going to be is we need to reach a certain number before we could place the order because we have a minimum we need to meet. And so if you're interested, come, I'll post it everywhere, but come by, send your other friends who are doing other war games, because like I said, the mats are for anything.
Yeah.
And have them buy too, because the more we can get, then we could fulfill the order. So
the beach mat looks real nice.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you deals. Yeah, okay.
Deals.
So I'll that's fine. Let's tease the mats.
Oh, I
right
didn't mean
now.
to.
No,
that
it's
was
okay. It's okay.
broken, all right.
It's a good idea. We have a beach / scarif. Can't call it that. It's a beachfront mat. We have a grass field mat with some extra little dillies. It's not like a normal grass field. We have a industrial shipyard.
Okay.
Maybe somewhere Han Solo might have come from.
All right. Fair.
We have a. So what did
The sand.
Sand. Yep. So we got a Tatooine Jakku sand desert.
Yep.
That I think is pretty unique from a design perspective.
It's nice because it's bright. So we'll shoot through the other two, and I'll shoot some opinions out about them.
Okay, and then the final one is a Theed mat, which is basically the city in Naboo that Queen Amidala. It's kind of a city like. But you could use it like as an old time, like a medieval city, or even like some of the futuristic cities from any other game. Like, it's just kind of like stones and grass.
But it's put together. So okay, mats bother me because they're all made for 40K mostly.
Yeah.
And that's not what bothers me. It bothers me that the 40K aesthetic is always like death and ruin and skulls and everything broken and stinks, and it's that's cool for 40K. But man, if you want to play any other game, not 40K, you're always playing on like rubble. And I get wars are in rubble, but man, if you play Infinity, not everything in Infinity stinks. You're playing in like nice cities,
Right.
right? The same thing with Star Wars. Like you can go to a planet on Star Wars and it's not all ruin and rubble. You're fighting through like houses that are built and it's still a city after the fight's over, right? Like I get so bummed out when I'm looking at mats. I'm like, oh, okay, fire pit, broken place, war torn thing. Like we made mats that like the beach one's got a couple pox marks on it, but could be a beach. We've got the Theed one, or I'm sorry, the nice city one. Looks good. Like there's not holes everywhere. It just looks like a city. So you could put whatever you want on there. You could even do like Test of Honor and put Samurai on there, and it looks fine, right? Like it gets me that I look through all these mats online, and I'm like, I just want a grass mat. And I look through all these grass mats, and there's like skulls in the grass. I'm like, no, just a grass mat. No, like just please, just a grass mat. And you know what? If you don't like any of our mats, hey, that's okay too, because we got those sidebars that you could play on your own mat that you want to use, right? And it makes it easier because the nice thing about those sidebars that he didn't mention was he's got the middle and like the two sides for like intercept.
So there's a mark for the middle, and then coming in range 3 from either side. Yeah, so is a mark.
So you can do intercept immediately. It's not like that whole like wiggling the sticks around trying to find the right thing.
So also on all the mats, there's hidden marks as well that just look like they're part of the map, but once you see them, you'll know
that's where that.
So that there'll be that too. But like if you play other games, you would never notice it.
Yeah, that's like they. I think Fat Mats did. It was cool, like hidden deployments for 40K, like papers and stuff. But ours are nice too. But these are actually really got me pumped because we were talking about designs and we're going back and forth. I'm like, these are great. They're just not miserable. Like I'm so odd. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying that because I'm part of the 5th Trooper, but I'm just a beach mat. It'd be nice just like 40. One of our friends who plays Bolt Action, Dominic, he's just like, you can't find a beach mat anywhere that looks okay. And then I showed him that one. He's like, oh, you could do the world, a landing, a D-Day scene on this. And I'm like, oh yeah. I didn't even think about it. It's like, it's hard to find a beach mat that just looks like a beach. So I'm really jazzed for these mats. I'm jazzed to buy some myself just so I could roll them out and just have them to play on for even my own personal, like, whatever silly game I'm playing, like Mech Clicks, Wiz Kids Forgotten Battletech game. I'd love to play on that.
Yeah, and so for you to know, I just make this clear, and we'll put this up on the pre-order too, is it's like I said, it's a Kickstarter pre-order. So for us, it's not going to be on Kickstarter. It's a crowdsourced kind of pre-order. So what that means is when you pre-order, it's probably up to 8 weeks before you're going to see the mat, just because that we need to build the orders. We need to make sure we have enough to even place an order, right? And so that's what we need to do. So if you're interested, next week that's coming out, I'll be putting it on Facebook. If you signed up for any of our giveaways or contests or anything like that, you'll get an email and you know that it's live. You'll know first. If you're on Patreon, you're going to get there's special deals that we'll have. If you're a store owner or an event, if you run an event or a store owner or an event, we're actually going to have deals for like large orders. If you can prove that you're a store or whatever, or if you're a large group, maybe you don't have a store and you want to get a bundle of them, we're more than willing to do that. We'll have all kinds of different,
even just the roll outside. So if you got mats, talk to us about that too.
Well, and that'll be up there and available. And then we're going to do deals like if you get the sides and a mat, like you'll get a discount,
Sure.
And for the pre-orders, I'm going to include shipping for all the United States, free shipping, just whatever the mat costs. That's what it'll cost. And we'll send it out to you. Canada and Europe, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, just meet me up there. That's not going to be a smuggling mats up to Canada.
Yeah, no kidding. But I'm going to try to work stuff out for all that too. So we will hopefully have answers for most of that. But yeah, so the mats next week we're gonna put out pre-orders and see where we stand.
Yeah, I didn't mean to drag this on too long as like it's like a sales pitch for ourselves on there, but it's cool. But it makes me excited because it's like you don't hear me talking about t-shirts. Right, like you hear me like this is something that I actually see super duper value in for myself. Even if I wasn't part of this group, I would look in and be like, yes, please, just a grass mat with no skulls or fire or dead guys on it. Just I want to have a samurai fight on grass, please, thanks. So, no, I'm super jazzed for those. That's cool. Exciting.
Well, that's nice. Thanks, Evan. But yeah, so we designed them. Well, I designed them. I mean, I was going to try to
No, you're good.
not
You're good.
toot my own horn here, but
No, it's all good.
we got a lot of input. Like the beach one, Evan gave me a ton of input on, and like each mat, I got input from people either within the Fifth Trooper network here or outside, but within the Legion and gaming community. So we got a lot of good feedback, and so hopefully you guys like them. And yeah. So next week you should see that. I'll start teasing it, as we get closer.
Yeah, sure.
And I got to build it all out. But yeah, I mean, we'll pre-order it. If we can get pre-orders good, then I'll place the order and we'll get them brought in.
Sounds good.
So other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up. Check out our website for our blog. The guys have been writing some great material up there. We're trying to keep updated on it. We're all a little busy, but check it out. Check out our YouTube channel. We're gonna have a bunch of videos this month, which should be exciting.
And you and I started another podcast, right?
And we started another podcast.
I know, right? Yeah, something else.
Formerly Crunch and Chaos. It's called The Fifth Tile. We're basically, Evan and I are gonna do what you guys said. A lot of you reached out and said you really liked the fact when we go off on other games and talking about other games. So we're going to do a whole podcast. It's going to run about half an hour to 40 minutes. And we already have one episode up. You can check it out on our website. And, this last game we talked board games, or the last podcast we talked board games. We had Brendan Franz on there, special guest. This next one, we're going to be talking video games that's coming out this week. And so, each week, hopefully we'll be talking something different, but in the gaming world.
Yeah.
And games other than Legion. So if you're interested in that, you want to hear our takes on that stuff, check it out, The Fifth Tile. It's on. You can find the link on our website, fifthtrooper.com. And as always, you can reach out, Facebook, Discord, or email us, contact@thefifthtrooper.com. Anything else, Evan?
No, man. I think that's good.
Cool. I was really worried around the 25-minute mark that we weren't going to be able to fill the time, so we did it.
we did it, boys.
We did it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a good week.
Everyone, stay rad.
Join us next week for another edition of the Fifth Trooper podcast.
This has been a Fifth Trooper production.